Nana, Astarte, Sabbath, Metatron, Metronet. And at this particular time, we're going to have an informal, impromptu type of information on certain things pertaining to death, certain things pertaining to people call the demiurge and the enemy. We're going to identify the demiurge and the enemy, which means here is they'll put the decoy, the white boy, in front of us, and everybody that's been oppressed by the white boy around the world, that's enlightened, focus on the white boy, the white man, the white man. But there's some gods behind the white man, or otherwise the white man wouldn't be. You see what I'm saying? If there's forces that can kill up thousands of people in a couple of seconds, then that means the only reason why the white boy is allowed to be a predator on the planet is because there has to be principalities of God that allowed him to do that, and we're in this whole cosmic warfare, so we'll get with that later. Right now, what we want to do is we want to deal with certain things at the afterlife and certain things about death and different things. So we're going to have Brother Panic here that has a lot of the questions written down, and he's going to say some questions. And feel free to jump in at any time. Feel free to jump at any time, and we'll see what it is. This is interesting here because death is a balance out of the slavery of reincarnation for a few minutes. You see what I'm saying? If you didn't have death, you couldn't have life, or you couldn't have a reciprocal type of energy. You would have to have a certain balance. And it is the balance out of the grip of a certain entities that put us down here for slaves. We'll get into all that type of thing and all of that also, too. You see, now it's interesting because if you are on the other side of death, you know that the living world is death. And somehow, if you reincarnate from that world into this world again, the others mourns the death of you in their world and the birth of you in this world. Everything is reversed. You see what I'm saying? That's why the Egyptians say foolish are the long-lived. That's why you don't see a lot of old people on the monuments. You know, on the monuments and stuff like that. No, but then again, that's not really saying anything because these people had the knowledge to regenerate themselves so they could live 200-300 damn years. You know what I'm saying? Especially we talk about pre-dynastic on back. When Manetho said, he said, well, there's roughly about 8,000 years of gods and 8,000 years of pre-dynastic and 8,000 years of dynastic. He said 3,000 years of pre-dynastic and another 5,000 years of dynastic. He said roughly about 8,000 to 9,000 years. And they asked him, well, who used to rule before then? He said that was a whole bunch of gods used to rule. Well, that was a time, even in the point before we became, even the point when we first got trapped into the physical, for thousands of years we could regenerate ourselves and live as long as we want to. Now, we know this is because as late as 18th century and early 19th century India, who kept some of these particular mystery schools open, they got accounts of people living 300 years old and only looking like they're in their 40s. And they had people that would live this long because they didn't have a great teacher to come behind in the school to lead the school of yogis to the people behind. So that particular teacher had to continue living until they got a teacher adept and suitable enough and astute enough to take over. So he would just have to live until they would get one up to speed. And you see, so they can live up to 300 years just waiting on the suitable teacher. You see, and just regenerating their cells. I should have got the book out there to show you exactly how that works. They got a woman we got in this book that looked like she's 30, but she's 70. She's 71. You see what I'm saying and all, and it was remarkable. So we know that this can actually happen. This could actually happen. But I'm quite sure when the Egyptians say so foolish are the long-lived, they were talking about when you get to the point where you got to walk in a walker and wear a bag on the side, you might well check yourself on out. You see what I'm saying? And all, you know, it's bad enough living down this motherfucker young, excuse this expression. Especially in these modern times when everything is based on capitalism. You see what I'm saying? And